to life and liberty. We're all created equally in America, and we're going to live here happily in America. Our founding fathers crossed the seas and built the new world colonies. But King George wouldn't set them free, so they fought a revolution. The American...
Hi, my name's Diane. You're currently watching the Just Kidding Around show. Thank you so much for joining us. Each week we introduce the home viewers to different crafts, hobbies, and various entertainments that the whole family can participate in. This week we're going to be cooking of sorts, and I am welcoming a new chef, a new guest on the show who is a chef. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
And your name is Britnee?
Britnee.
Britnee, and we just recently met ourselves. We're in a support group together.
A raw and living food support group. It kind of provides support for people that are venturing into a healthier diet.
Okay. And the title of the show is Carob Pie, but we opened on avocados, and I'm real excited to see the connection with the avocados and a chocolate mousse pie. Mm-hmm. But first, before we get started, we'd like to look into the camera and say hello to somebody that's special to us. And so I'm going to say hi to all the students at South Bay Elementary. And of course, hi to my dear friend, Mr. Feeney. And hi, Mom and Dad. Is there somebody you'd like to say hi to, Britnee?
I would like to say hello to all of my family that have supported me on everything and gotten me to where I am now.
Okay, good. And we'll talk more about that throughout the course of the pie. Mm-hmm. Okay, so are you ready to get started?
I am.
Okay. And to make this pie, I see you have special equipment. You need a blender or something?
This is a food processor.
Oh, a food processor.
And it works best, especially for making the crust. If you wanted to use a blender to make the mousse, you could do that as well, but I like to use food processor.
And what's the difference between a food processor and a blender?
The processing is much different. The blender has smaller blades and it's more concentrated. You'd have to have a lot of liquid to make it like kind of the tornado effect. This covers more of the product.
And there are different blades in a food processor, is that right?
Yeah, they are,
So
and they're bigger blades.
And what kind of a blade are you using
today? This is an S blade. You can also, usually with a food processor, you get a shredder as well and a slicer, which goes on the top.
And we're going to be working with the S blade today?
The S blade. Mm-hmm.
All right. And so if they don't have a food processor, could they still make the crust for the pie?
Yes, you can. You can just you can chop the nuts, and I'll show you. It's just, the nuts just get grinded up real small, and you mix it in with a couple other ingredients.
Okay.
So it can be done without a food processor.
Sounds like this crust is different. It's not the flour and water crust.
No, it's not.
And this is all going to be raw. It's not going to be baked at all.
No.
And we're going to end up with a pie.
No, it's a completely raw and living pie.
All right. And what does that mean, that it's a raw and living pie? What does that mean to people that are
When
tuned in?
you use the term living, it is kind of like, it still has a lot of live enzymes in it.
Oh, live enzymes, what you're referring to. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so when you sprout something, or when you, basically when you sprout something, it becomes more alive, or it has more enzymes present in it.
And why do we care about enzymes?
Enzymes help us digest our food. It's said to help us process. We have enzymes present in us already that helps with the process of digesting food. And when you have an easier time digesting food, it gives you more energy to put in other places.
Okay, so you're saying the food has enzymes, but our bodies already have enzymes.
It does have enzymes. It's said to not have the enzymes that are present. Sometimes have a harder time digesting when you put a lot of food into your body that doesn't have a lot of enzymes present in it.
So if we eat a lot of
support.
cooked food, it's hard on our body, and it makes us tired. Especially at Thanksgiving
low on energy.
Isn't that funny? Because food's supposed to give you energy, but if you eat a lot of cooked food, sometimes it actually makes you more tired.
And it's really all about a balance, I think, with balancing how your body feels with eating what feels good to your body.
So do you eat any cooked food?
I do eat cooked food occasionally.
And you saw that I ate cooked food before the show. I ate some very bad cooked food. But I'll try and redeem myself after the show, eating your raw pie. Okay, so we're going to start by making the crust?
And what I do, I'm going to use walnuts.
Okay, are these walnuts raw?
These walnuts are raw.
So how would somebody know? If you just buy unshelled walnuts, are they raw?
Usually it says if it's raw or if it's roasted and salted.
Oh, okay.
If you go to buy them.
Okay.
If you want to do more research and contact the company to make sure that, because there's sometimes controversy of if it's truly raw.
Okay.
To be considered raw, it's usually processed under the degree of around 115
Okay.
degrees.
Okay. But somebody, if they have walnuts at home, they could just crack the shell and throw them in there, right?
Well, I don't know how the whole walnut harvesting process
Okay.
is. I know that there might be like a drying process with that, but
Oh, so
Not-
those have probably been dried in some way then. Okay, could you use peanuts for this, or
Um,
cashews, or?
you could use
Almonds?
cashews or almonds or any nut that you prefer.
Okay.
I go a lot with my walnuts are one of my favorite nuts, and the
Okay.
cost is a little bit less
All
compared to other raw nuts.
Now, you really are a chef that's gone to school to learn how to do all this, aren't you?
I did go to a certification program that certified me as an associate raw and living food
And how
chef.
long was that?
It was about a month long, and it was
Wow.
3 classes.
And don't you know David Wolf and some of the real big names? And
I have done work trades at David Wolf Retreats and have met other ones through just working and getting experience.
That's pretty much the biggest name in raw food in this country, I think, really. Okay, I'll be quiet so you can start cooking.
And I've gotten to the point with a lot of my recipes where I don't use a lot of measuring, and I go more on my instinct and just that. So it might be tweaked a little bit. And
Okay. Did you make up this recipe, or is this from a book?
It was a recipe that I had gotten from school, and I've kind of tweaked it a little bit in my own way to how I like
And
it.
I'm really sorry that Brittany and I didn't bring books today, but there are a lot of books on raw and living foods.
There are
a
a lot.
lot. And you get them possibly at the library, but I do know that there are a lot in our local health food stores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put about...
It used to be unusual, and it's not so unusual anymore. There's
No, there's the bookstores downtown. There's a lot of places where you can get.
And people are realizing that, I mean, colon cancer, I think, is the #1 cancer. It used to be lung cancer, and now it's... So people are realizing that they have to take better care of their digestive system. And the more raw you can eat, the better it is for your body. Even if you're not 100% raw, even, you know.
So this is about 3 cups of walnuts.
Okay, 3 cups of walnuts. If you, you have permission to videotape this. So if you don't have a pen and pencil, feel free to just put the record button on and tape our show. Totally fine with us. Or you can write to the address at the end of the show, and we'll send you the recipe.
Okay. And I'm just going to grind these up a bit. It's kind of a loud machine. And I don't want to do it all the way. And then also, so it gets it kind of just a fine chop almost. So if you did this with a knife or a nut grinder, that's possible to get at. I'm also going to put a couple pinches of salt in there. I use salt in almost everything that
Now, what
I
kind
make.
of salt is this?
This is sea salt.
Sea salt. And do you recommend sea salt over?
That's what I prefer.
Okay.
I prefer sea salt. There seem to be more minerals present in the sea salt.
Is it considered live? It's not live.
I don't. There's companies that you can get it where it's dried at a low temperature. Okay. And I'm going to put some coconut oil or butter.
Now, you can buy coconut butter.
Yes, you can. It's available in a lot of health food stores, and there's a lot of different brands, and it's really yummy. Sometimes I just eat it out of a spoon. With a spoon. But I see that it works pretty well. I've warmed this, and it usually is a solid form when you purchase it. I warmed it for about an hour to get it to melted. It's at a low temperature, so it's still considered raw.
You know how to cut open coconuts, so don't you? I think I've seen you do that.
The young Thai coconuts, I do know how to open. I haven't mastered the old coconuts that really. So I might need more coconut butter, but I'm gonna kind of go with this.
So the crust is simply made of coconut and walnuts. It's got to be good.
It's really tasty.
Is this maybe fattening too, or?
It's the fats that are present are healthy fats that are good for you, that have amino acids and things that help with your skin, and it's
So you mean if we eat raw, we're going to look better?
I have noticed different things happening.
Well, aren't there books called Eating for Beauty and Eating to De-Age Yourself, and they're all about eating more and more raw things, fruits and vegetables?
So I want kind of a sticky, a little bit of a sticky consistency, and I didn't quite get that, so I'm going to add a little bit more coconut butter. So this is probably getting to about 3/4 of a cup of coconut butter.
So equal parts then. Didn't you say 3/4? How?
It was about 3 cups of...
3 cups of walnuts to 3/4. I got it.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
And after this gets to a cooler temperature, or it sits, it will harden, and so it won't be as runny like this.
Are we going to be able to eat this tonight?
Yes, you will. I think we're almost there. And when you're using a food processor, it's good to always stop and scrape down the sides to make sure that all is incorporated.
Are these things hard to clean? Ooh,
Lost that one.
You need that part?
No, not for this.
Okay. I've heard that these are rather expensive, but some people find them at garage sales.
This actually I've had for probably about 3 years, and it was only about $30 or $40 at just a regular
store. So even new ones, they're not that expensive.
Yeah, it's lasted me a long time. I love it. There's higher quality ones that you can purchase at a higher price, whatever you feel you want to commit to, I think. So the consistency's there.
How simple. That's easier than making a regular crust, I think. Just
I do
mix
too.
All right.
And,
This is something I could do. Wow. You could probably even use that if you're going to bake it, couldn't you?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. We're not talking about that anymore.
I've never tried that, so I'm not sure.
What would happen if somebody did like 3 cups walnuts and 1 cup of coconut?
It
Because
really,
that'd just be easier to remember. That's all I'm.
I don't think it would make that much of a difference. It's with a lot of these recipes, it's really, I mean, from my experience, what I found, it's really not that technical.
Is that right? I move that out of your way so you could.
Yeah, we can show the pressing of
I'll
the.
put that center stage.
So I just kind of spread it out evenly. And you can use, if you don't have like a pie pan that will separate, then you can put saran wrap before you put the pie crust in, and then it will be easier to get out.
Okay. Oh.
But this pan actually separates, so
Okay.
it makes it a lot easier.
Oh, this is a professional pan. Oh, you mean this is going to lift up here?
Yeah, the bottom will come out.
Oh, this is something.
And this is actually just a regular pie or tart baking pan.
Oh, okay.
That I'm
Okay. And then you press that in.
just pressing it in, pushing some to the to the sides to make,
Not all the way up the side.
no.
Okay, so it's not all the way up the side, it's just, great, okay.
And it's so easy. I have experience with making regular pies, pies with a flour crust, and this is so much simpler and so much faster.
I think that pan would be easier.
Oh, it's
Oh, I see, it has like a buckle here. I'm
Yeah.
anxious to see all that. Are we gonna have enough time to make the chocolate filling?
oh yeah, it's really really
Okay.
quick. So this is okay.
That's great, that's beautiful. Oh, it's heavy. Or is part of that the pan?
Part of it is the pan. So if I could have the food processor again.
Okay.
And really, there's no need to clean out. It's not.
So are we gonna put avocados in our chocolate mousse?
Yes, we are. That was a surprise to me when I
cannot picture
first.
avocado and chocolate together.
This-
As much as I like both.
But it's actually a really great combination.
So this powder you're,
This is carob powder, actually.
Oh.
It's raw carob powder. I found that something that I like to use more than cocoa powder is actually roasted chocolate. So you can get raw cacao powder, which is raw chocolate. But
would it be cheating if somebody did use raw cocoa powder for this? I mean, I know the whole pie wouldn't be raw, but would it ruin the recipe?
I actually, when I first started making this, and that was a pinch of cinnamon, probably a half a teaspoon.
Okay.
A pinch of salt.
Hope you're writing this all down. Pinch of this, pinch of that. How much was the carob again? How much was that?
How much was it?
No,
in cost?
I mean, how big?
It was about a cup.
Cup,
We might need a little bit more, and that's kind of why I was gauging it. This is agave nectar. It's a low glycemic sweetener.
Oh, so diabetics could use this. Okay.
It's really, it's
Oh,
got
it's
a,
like honey.
it's
Oh, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it before. I thought that was apple juice sitting there. So it's agave nectar. Is that
Agave
from
nectar.
the agave plant?
yes, it is.
What's an agave?
An agave plant is actually a type of cactus.
Oh, you're kidding. And it's a low glycemic sweetener.
And this is like the syrup of it. And so that was probably about half a cup of agave. This is probably about a fourth of a cup of water. We're gonna see how that looks. Gets kind of
That's the powder, huh? It looks chocolatey, but it does smell more like carob.
it's.
Can you tell a big difference between chocolate and carob?
I could at first when I first started eating carob, not as much anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's not that I can't tell the difference. I just really enjoy both of the flavors.
Do you think, what's the big deal with carob? Is it healthier for you?
It doesn't have the caffeine.
Oh.
Doesn't affect you that way.
Okay.
So it's something that I like with my nephews. I use instead of the chocolate.
So the kids won't get so hyper.
And so I'm
But
putting
that's the biggest difference between the two.
that I'm aware of. Yes.
Okay.
And so I did that part first.
Oh, so you cut the avocado in half, and then you stab the seed, huh?
Yeah.
The pit. Oh, you made it look so easy.
There's other ways that you can do it.
No, that looks easier than the way I would have done it.
And I made the sauce first, and now I'm going to add the avocados.
And you don't use a spoon for this. This must be the chef way.
This is
the
fastest way for me. And I
I don't think our home viewers saw how you did that. That was quite. Maybe the next one.
Yeah,
you
I can show.
show. Very clever. So after cutting the
So
avocado
I
in
just
half, getting
cut
the
it
pit
in
out.
half, and I just make
Maybe you could do it towards there, just seeing the back. There you go.
slits. Just kind of and And this one you
John's
can do
got
it.
the
It's a
close-up for
really easy.
Interesting. So you're kind of dicing it instead of that's easier than just taking a spoon, huh?
I don't know if it's easier.
Then you squeeze it.
Yeah, it just kind of, if you're just doing it for a recipe that doesn't matter what it looks
Okay.
like, you don't really need to use a spoon.
And what's the purpose of putting that in with carob? Is that going to make it creamier or change the
This
consistency?
does add like a creamy consistency to it, and it doesn't, the flavor isn't really present. And it's a really healthy fat. It has a lot of health benefits, and it's,
Yeah, poor avocado's gotten sort of a bad name because of the fat, but it's a good fat.
yes, it is. It's, in my opinion, and what I've found from using it and heard from people, it's a very, and you can use it in anything. I put it in my smoothies, in my dessert, I eat
In a
it,
smoothie, I'll have to try that.
salads, all of it.
We've done shows on smoothies, on green smoothies. So you'd put one of these in a green smoothie?
I usually put about a half of avocado in my
I'm
smoothie
gonna
every
try it.
morning. Sometimes the pit, if it's not all the way ripe, it's a little bit difficult to get out. Gotta be careful.
Yeah, that wasn't quite as graceful as your first one, but you know, you got the job done.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it wasn't quite as ripe as the first
Yeah,
one?
if it's a harder flesh, the fruity body,
Okay.
it's a little bit more difficult.
And what about the consistency in the recipe and the flavor if it's not real ripe?
It's better to have real ripe ones.
Okay.
But if not all of them are ripe, because it's so hard to find
Oh.
ripe avocados and have them all be ripe at the right time, it really doesn't make a huge difference. The flavor actually can also be affected if they're really not ripe.
Okay. We only have 5 more minutes, dear.
Okay.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, well, not really. So I would put.
I'm surprised.
It went by really fast.
Really fast. And I wanted to see this pie done. Are we going to be able to lift this top off in 5 minutes, do you think?
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
So it turns into kind of a moussey pudding type thing. If you wanna,
What's the difference between a mousse and a pudding?
I'm not actually sure, like in definition in term, what the exact difference of it. I know that the consistency is a little. Puddings seem to be heavier,
More dense, and
And
a
not
mousse
as-
is lighter, fluffier.
Yeah, in my
So
experience.
this is more like a mousse. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's real fluffy.
So the avocado, it really helps with the consistency,
I'm
and
going to reach over there, Whitney, and move that so the camera can get a better shot.
thank you. Just kind of, it's so easy. Once you got all this in there. And usually I refrigerate it or just stick it in the freezer if I'm really impatient before, just kind of lets it sit up a little bit more.
Okay.
Being processed kind of warms it up a little bit.
So basically we've got a chocolate mousse with a walnut coconut crust.
Just kind of spread it in.
So it's not real high, but it shouldn't be anyway. A chocolate pie would be narrower.
No,
wouldn't it?
it's, yeah, this is a good,
Do you mind? How about if I hold it like that? There you go. And you can spread it around. Is that okay? Is that too awkward?
no, I think I
John
can.
Horseman just has such a good shot of that. Beautiful. That's award-winning in my book. Wow. That is one gorgeous chocolate mousse. But it's raw. It's live. It's not baked. Nothing in this was cooked. And it's going to taste probably a heck of a lot better than a cooked one.
It does taste really good.
Okay, now the setting up would be the next step.
And I would
So-
just,
So, I have a hungry crew. They might have to lick the bowl.
yeah, it might not exactly
Yeah.
set up right now, but we can We can try.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so she's gonna dismantle. I hope we've got it. Can you see it? Can you get a close-up of what she's doing? This is a special type of, isn't that clever? And then it
And
just
the bottom,
lifts up. It's a torch pan. I've never seen such a thing. So there it is. It's pretty delicate now, though, isn't
yeah,
it?
usually I refrigerate it and let it set up a little bit better
Before
than
you do
but
that.
to give the presentation. And I usually sprinkle things on top or cut
Well, what's this
fresh
for?
fruit. These are goji berries. I was bringing this out an option. You could put this in the crust. It's kind of a dried fruit as well.
Oh, okay.
Or you can, if you sprinkle it on top, it makes.
Oh, okay. Can I tip
Yeah.
this up a little bit? If I
you-
mess this up, I am in so much trouble. I just want the closing credits. Okay. They're telling us to wrap it up. So I've got to thank you, Britnee, for coming.
Well, you are
and
so welcome.
sharing your
Thank you.
talents. A real chef. Wow. And I want to thank Tom Dubuque for directing this. And thanks to John Horstman. It's the first time he's run camera. And thank you very much, John. Thanks to Bob Giles and to Bruce Tanney. And please join us again. Bye, Mr. Feeney.
We've the right to life and liberty. We're all created equally in America, and we're going to live here happily in America. Our founding fathers crossed the seas and built the new world colonies. But King George wouldn't set them free, so they fought a revolution. The American Revolution. Oh, we the people here decree we've the right to life and liberty. We're all created equally in America, and we're going to live here happily in America. The English army came in boats. It was buckskin versus bright red coats. Then the Yankees won the war and wrote our country's constitution, the United States Constitution. Oh, we the people here decree we've the right to life and liberty. We're all created equally in America.